Thank you. That was a 7.5-minute Dorothy. My question is to the Premier. Premier, the story of poker machines in Tasmania is a tale of twin tragedies: the deep corruption of successive governments and the untold harm to tens of thousands of people. While premiers, treasurers and ministers have made backroom deal after dodgy backroom deal to line their donors' pockets, everyday Tasmanians have suffered the consequences. Pokies have directly caused financial ruin, homelessness, family breakdown, crimes of desperation and suicide. The evidence is clear that taking pokies out of pubs and clubs will save lives and livelihoods. But Premier, you've made your position clear. You value political power and gambling industry profits over people. With the introduction of your proposed pokies legislation today, you'll join the sizable club of Tasmanian politicians who've let the promise of money and favours overwhelm the public interest. Premier, regardless of anything else you do, your legacy will include the continuation of untold pain and suffering inflicted on Tasmanians. Are you proud to be the new author of Indefinite Pokies, Corruption and Harm in Tasmania?
1 minute 15.
Yeah, good question. Try and answer it from your heart.
Well, Mr Speaker, I thank the Leader of the Greens, Member for Clark, Ms O'Connor, for that question. And once again, it's important that I put some facts on the record. Backroom deals, the legislation that will be in the Parliament will be there for all to consider. That's right. There for all to consider. It is extraordinary. It is extraordinary that that you would make the claims that you have.
Want us to look at it?
In terms of support for others that other premiers over time may have provided. We've just taken $20 million off federal hotels, and we've smashed the monopoly. That's what this. That's what this legislation will do, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it will smash the monopoly, Mr. Speaker. It will put the future of small pubs and clubs in the owners' hands, Mr. Speaker. It will enable them to invest and employ more people, Mr. Speaker. And the other point, Mr. Speaker, that the Leader of the Greens walks away from, and I was hoping that I'd have some of these facts, but I don't. But from memory, I can tell you, the last SEIS showed that the number of Tasmanians that gamble had come down. That's right. It demonstrated that the amount that people were gambling had come down. 47%. It made the point that those that were at serious risk had come down. The harm minimisation measures are working. Now, it's a fraction of a percent. You know that. A fraction of a percent, Mr. Speaker, in terms of the number of people that are seriously at risk, Mr. Speaker. All of these facts, the Leader of the Greens ignores. All of these facts, the Leader of the Greens ignores. But what she wants to do, what her policy position is she wants to put all of the pokie machines in the casinos. In the casinos. In the casinos, which is just extraordinary, Mr. Speaker, which would increase the casinos' revenue, Mr. Speaker. And for those that want to, continue to gamble, will just simply turn up at the casinos, Mr. Speaker. It is just a ridiculous policy that the Greens have. But, Mr. Speaker, I reject very firmly the assertions that were made in the Leader of the Greens question. I reject them absolutely. Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, the legislation that we introduce will provide a fairer system, Mr. Speaker. It smashes the monopoly, Mr. Speaker. It ensures that pubs and clubs do better, Mr. Speaker. It ensures that the state government does better, and it ensures that we double the investment in harm minimisation as well, Mr. Speaker. These are things I would have thought that the Leader of the Greens could support. But, Mr. Speaker, she remains willfully blind to the fact that the harm minimisation measures that we have in this state are as strong as anywhere in the country, if not stronger, and importantly, Mr. Speaker, are working, Mr. Speaker. Now, Mr. Speaker, again, and I'll finish by just simply saying that I reject all of the assertions that were contained in that question.
Honourable Member